This is a story about resonance and understanding that you can be wanting conscious, healthy, emotionally intelligent commitment in connection, in intimate partnership, but magnetize the absolute opposite, because what you're resonating with is the frequency of your unconscious. And I'll tell you the story of how I know this. So in November 2024, I said, right, since 2019, well, my whole life pretty much, I've been super happy single. I love being single. I love my own time. I love my own life. I don't like compromising too much. I like freedom. I had this big thing about freedom. And I believed that being in a relationship would smother me and engulf me and take away that freedom. But that, I found, was actually a result of some really unconscious beliefs that I held based on what I believed to be true about relationships, based on what I learned from my family of origin. That kind of belief system shifted in 2019, 20, 21, 22, all those years when I was actually, I'd done my work on that. And still, I was deeply happy in my single life. In fact, I still am. I'm very happy. But in 2024, in November, I suddenly realized, hang on a minute, I'm now ready to actually call in conscious partnership. I am now ready for the best sex of my life. I'm ready to experience the journey of actually building something meaningful and fulfilling with someone who is on my level. And what happened was the universe presented 3 men to me. Now, I thought 7 years before I had finished trauma bonding, because what I'd kept doing was attracting ultimately the replicas of the man that I was raised with. And so that man, that imprint, was the same men I kept meeting over and over again, except for 2. And those 2 men I really had a deep affection and love for. And I realized only when both of them actually came back 7 years later, guess who I was meeting again? I hadn't resolved all of my relational shit. I was now meeting my actual father, my real dad, who was not present in my life. I mean, he didn't live in the house. He wasn't a provider. Lovely man, super gentle. So I've gone from these very abusive, dangerous, dark, very shady men, and I'd broken that spell of attraction to that imprint. No longer, I didn't magnetize it because I didn't resonate with it anymore. So it wasn't something that moved towards me. So it disappeared from my life. And in between those years, many beautiful, healthy, masculine men came and showed me what provision looks like, what presence looks like, what holding your heart looks like, what consistency looks like, what steady looks like. And although I didn't have a desire to engage in a relationship with any of them, I still got to experience what the healthy masculine was. And that is really important as a woman, because you cannot do the work alone. You actually do need to be in relationship with others in order to create new neural pathways, to understand what being held without an agenda feels like, or having somebody who says I'm going to do this on this day and be there on that day, it creates a whole new experience. And so it recodes, your mind, so you can really truly believe and know that healthy masculine men exist, and beautiful men who own, who are just beautiful human beings exist. And so on the 7th year, these guys turn up, and and this is why I call it Rewire Your Desire, because you have to rewire your attraction blueprint in order to be open to receive the healthy masculine relationship that you desire. And this is what I want to talk about from the beginning. There is an internal split between what you say you want and what you are actually open to receive. There's an internal split between your conscious mind and the subconscious programs and patterns in your nervous system running the show. So I've been developing and formulating the questions for the Father Wound module. And one of the questions I posed was, men are blank. Now, I said to myself, this isn't a very valuable question, because my conscious mind would have said millions of beautiful things. None of them actually would have been negative, and none of them would have been truly what I was resonating with on an unconscious level. It was only through the mirror and what was showing up in my external reality when I called in, when I said I was ready for relationship, that I got to actually see what was truly going on underneath, what my true beliefs, assumptions, and my patterning, how I showed up, what my internal script was, what I believed to be true about myself, and these assumptions that were shaping my reality around the masculine, around provision, around what was attractive and what lit me the fuck up. So I have a resolution for that. I actually have a tool to actually bypass your conscious mind and speak to your subconscious mind to clarify whether this thing is true or not, what you think is true and what is real. But there's multiple ways that I work with you to show you how how do we unpack. Let's look at what is actually true, and let's resolve it. So resonance is an energetic truth in our universe that we move or magnetize to what feels resonant, not what we want, but what we truly believe to be true underneath. And luckily those beliefs can be shifted. My big thing was that I was still attracted. The man that really lit my fire was the man who was not sure about me or not certain about me, who was showing up inconsistently. He was not being transparent. He wasn't. In fact, he activated the chase in me, so I inverted polarity as well. But that inconsistency, that intermittent pattern, is just a nervous system imprint. So I had to rewrite that and move away from the idea that love is something to chase, because love is not something that stays. And so when you're wired like that, and when a man is wired like that, you're just seeking dopamine. You're addicted to the chase. And that's why it feels alluring, why it's magnetic, why it's intense. But once you move through Rewire Your Desire and apply my system, this changes, and your whole relational blueprint changes. So you are no longer an energetic match for what resonates in the past which was from your unconscious. Now you're looking at what resonates from your true desire, your actual original love blueprint, your heart frequency. Here's how the universe works. You know when loads of women are on their period in the same house, everyone's like in syncs, they all sync together. This is called entrainment. And it's the same with, I don't know if it's crickets, but that thing in the fields, and or fireflies do it as well. In nature, things that, okay, I'll give you another example. Grandfather clocks, the pendulum, if you put them all in a row, they're all going to entrain to the frequency of the one leading the entrainment. So this is entrainment. This is what resonance is. So who we magnetize is another form of entrainment. If you are leading from beliefs that do not serve you, or nervous system imprints that say, I have to earn love, or love is not something that stays, or absence is something that, love is something that comes and goes, whatever it happens to be, and there are millions of different variations of this that we resolve. Your desire and your list of qualities and things you're looking for are not going to wash. You're going to keep attracting and magnetizing at the frequency that you are entrained to. So here's another thing I want you to grasp. The work we do isn't just knowing these things, and we can do this without understanding human design or having your human design chart, but having human design and gene keys gives us a new level of precision to work with, and can resolve things in a very powerful way for you. Understanding we all have what is called the G center in human design. It's the identity center. It's called the magnetic monopole. Mono means one. This pole is always attracting to you things, people, situations, circumstances, etc. Which is why understanding your energetic blueprint and your human design is so key when it comes to creating an aligned business, creating an aligned life, living in the right place, because it shows you, once you're in alignment, you start actually receiving the opportunities, the people, experiences that are right and correct for you. And in fact, every experience is right and correct for you, because every experience is part of your soul curriculum. Every experience is absolute perfection in your journey of evolution, and the lessons and the wisdom and the things that you gain along the way to create and contribute and share with others. However, if your magnetic monopole is trained or filled with lots of conditioning and assumptions and beliefs around the masculine, around men, those are the things that are going to come to you, so that you can raise the frequency, transform your assumptions, and start moving into either raising your own levels of standards and self-worth and how you show up, and shifting the whole dynamic, or various other things. So this is the combination of work that we do. So this story of resonance is really key, because people often throw around the line, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. And it's just a simplified version of a very complex but simple and easy to resolve understanding of how attraction works, and magnetism, and the quality of things. And ultimately it always comes back to the quality of consciousness. If I'm moving at the quality of fear, of disappointment, of rejection, of abandonment, of all of these things, we keep recreating that thing, and we start operating in very weird ways you know, to either prevent that, i.e. hyper independent, or I love being single, which I do. But it does come to a point where you think, well, am I actually scared of being hurt? Or am I actually blocking intimacy because I don't want to be abandoned? So the key is facing yourself. I need to go because I've only got 1 minute left on my phone. But, oh,